Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mauni. I hope you all are doing good and I hope all of you have enjoyed your weekend with this dear friends. I believe that you would be having a new fuel, new recharge. You might have recharged your battery for the whole week. Let's start with a positive statement. Scared is what you are feeling. Brave is what you are doing. It is basically, I can break it down in this way, that it is a difference between your planning and your implementation. If you implement the things that you have planned, then I believe it gives you a sort of a touch of bravery. You can have your own views. If you want, then please do share it on my Facebook page. You can write me on my Facebook page, which is Prashanti Mamani, and you can also write it down in the comment section of this video. With this, dear friends, we have recently added many new courses in our pen drive, so make sure you check out StudyIQ.com to find the list about all the things that we offer, and I must say that this will help you immensely with your preparation. With this, dear friends, the first article or editorial that we have is on Doklam. Now, Doklam still is a matter of mystery, particularly for India, because see how it all started. First of all, let's locate where Doklam is. Now, see here, this is China or the part of Tibet. You have a country here, Bhutan. This is our state, Sikkim, and between this, between these two countries, Sikkim and India, basically our state of Sikkim, or between India and Bhutan, you have this small corridor, and this is where Doklam is. Now, Bhutan has been claiming, Bhutan has said this thing, that Doklam belongs to Bhutan and not China. Now, we know it very well how China is. China is the fourth largest country in the world. Bhutan is one of the smallest country in the world. Then as well, China wants to take away a piece of land from a very tiny country. Now, why India has got itself involved in this matter is because India and Bhutan, they have a 2007 friendship agreement. This agreement is not a new one. This was renewed in 2007. And we have decided that just in case if Bhutan is facing any sort of problem, then India will stand shoulder to shoulder with Bhutan. The other thing is that this is Siliguri corridor, so just in case if China is able to conquer this portion here, and the way it is reported in media, it wants to create a sort of military base here. So just in case, God forbid, if there is any war, not now but maybe 10-15 years after where we are standing at present, then China can easily bombard this portion here, this Siliguri corridor, which is also known as Chicken's Neck, and then we will not be able to reach our seven sister or northeastern states. In this way, it can take away this Arunachal Pradesh from us. So strategically speaking, it is very important portion here, right? So I hope this thing is clear why it is important for us to stand or to make sure that China is not taking away, or China is basically not building its military base here in Doklam. Now, it's been 5 months since this things were basically sorted out. At that point of time, August 28, 2017, we said that this decision of taking away troops or calling off this standoff was a mutual decision. But a couple of days ago, it was reported in newspaper, and I have discussed this thing with you guys. Remember, it was as a news form that Chinese minister said that all of the Doklam belongs to China and is under its effective jurisdiction. This is a very dangerous statement coming from China. Last week, Army Chief General Bipin Rawat also said that Chinese troops are in parts of Doklam. We have said that we are using satellite and other means to ensure that this Doklam area is free from this PLA, that is People's Liberation Army, but still we find this ups and downs taking place when it comes to Doklam. Now, there would be some secret negotiation going with China from Indian side, and Bhutan is also trying its level best to convince China that this Doklam does not belong to them. But anyways, this sort of ups and downs will go on. It is part and parcel of being next to China. China has been claiming that it has sorted out nearly, China has nearly 14 neighbors, and it claims that it has sorted out this land boundary issue with all the neighbors, but that is not right as well. It is using all this sort of tactics, right? This is a sort of pressure tactic as well, you can say. This will keep India a bit busy in this part here, so that we may lose a bit of focus from ASEAN countries. Anyways, there are some good points as well, which are of course not covered in this editorial, but I must add here that this border that we share with, I'm not talking just about this Doklam portion, I'm talking about the overall borders that we share with China. It is not as turbulent as the borders we share with Pakistan. We don't find ceasefire violations and violence taking place over here. It's just standoffs, and both the countries have so much on table. This sort of problems will never lead us to a war. You may find media reports indicating that this is going to be serious and that and etc. But when you analyze the overall relationship, you can understand that we have invested hugely in China, and more than that, China has hugely invested in India. The bilateral relationship between both these countries in terms of trade and investment is quite high, so no one would like to spoil this out of good profitable relation that both these countries share with each other. And at the end of the day, we are neighbors, so competition is beneficial for the whole world. It is beneficial for India as well as China, because if we compete with each other, then we would be able to bring the best out of ourselves. So that's everything that we have got here. I think we may find articles on this thing, so let's see. I hope this thing is clear. And regarding this statement of Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar, he did say this thing that China is a major disruptor, but he also said that it has been beneficial for India. So disruptor does not mean that one who is creating problems all the time. Basically, when you have a status quo and when someone disrupts this status quo, then many times you find a change, right? Basically, if I use simple terminology, then change is not always bad. Change brings with it some opportunities too, and this disrupting thing of China has brought opportunities for India. With this difference, second one is about Election Commission's advice to the president. It is about this office of profit thing that is going on at present, and finally the president has decided, or president has taken his own stand. This 20 legislatures of Aam Aadmi Party are disqualified. Now, the way things are reported in today's newspaper, these are news items that I have clubbed together. This one is, and at the end of the day, AAP party has decided that it is going to knock the doors of the law of court, right? And say this is not the first time we find this word office of profit. Basically, if you ask me basic definition, then I would say that any MLA, that is member of legislative party, or any member of parliament, right? Once you become MLA or MP, you cannot take any sort of position that will of course you cannot earn money from any other services. The other thing is that if you go through, there are at different point of time different statements or different stand. Of course, the stand is in the same line, that office of profit, or if you are earning as a MLA or MP, you cannot have money coming from two different jobs. So this is clearly stated by many different courts, but at different point of time you find a little bit of variation. It has always been added or clarified the things when it comes to office of profit. So bottom line is that the courts have said, or Supreme Court has said, that even if your position, right, it's not necessary that you would be getting a salary all the time. Even if you are in charge of a position, right? See here, this is the statement here, that it was an office of profit even if one did not actually receive payment. Even if you don't receive payment, you can clearly understand that. Say for example, if you are a MLA and if you are made in charge of a particular office, right? So you are MLA as well as you are in charge of a particular office, so you may not be getting salary for doing work in that office, but you would be having powers, isn't it? And these powers can be used for various different purposes. It's not necessary that cash or transfer is something that is quite visible. There could be something that that may lead or that may generate profit or money after a couple of years. So this is the main thing. So once you are MLA or MP, you cannot hold this position. So this is bit explained here, and you find different cases are mentioned here as well. We will find many editorials and not editorials, but of course articles, maybe editorials as well on this particular issue. And the key question here was whether the post of an office of profit, even after the Delhi government made it clear that parliamentary these secretaries were not eligible to any remuneration or prerequisites, right? But here it is coming into clash with this order of or stand of the court. So let's see, right? They are going to knock the doors of court, so we have to wait and watch. But at present, Election Commission is quite clear, and the president is duty bound to follow the advice that is coming from Election Commission in this matter of office of profit. So so president has taken his stand. This legislators, right, they stand disqualified as of now, but this is not going to create any trouble for this Arvind Kejriwal's government in Delhi. So let's see. This one is about American arms bazaar, right? Now the thing is, see, America, you know it very well. I'm sure you might have heard about this thing, that over there you can easily get a gun, and America is quite famous, right? It produces some of the best quality defense products, no doubt. Now at present what is going on is that Trump administration, right, or Mr. Trump is aggressively pushing sales. It has basically asked all these embassies around the world, as per this Reuters report, that US embassies around the world are given target to sell as much as or bring as many as defense deals as you can. Of course, when I say defense deals with America, then America would be a selling party. So this is something that is aggressively pushed by USA, and Mr. Trump is, he has changed the way things used to go on earlier on. See, in America, or basically US defense deal, they have three different, you can say, branches. When I say branches, I mean to say three different ways of selling this defense products. First one is about foreign military sales, right? From there they used to make $40 billion every year. Then you have this direct. When I say foreign military sales, so it is more government to government thing. This is direct commercial sales, 110 billion a year. So foreign buyer and American seller negotiate the deal directly, right? So you have your P2P, that is private to private, or many a times private to government as well. And then you have, most of the time, if we are talking about India, then of course it is private to government, because you know the things in the past, all the cases that we saw, or the leakages and things like that. So now it is, when it comes to India, we do G2G only most of the time. And then you have this foreign military financing. This is a sort of grants that are provided by USA, roughly $6 billion every year. Out of that, a lion's share goes to Israel, and then you have other countries as well, like Egypt, Jordan and Pakistan. So I hope this three different ways of sales is clear when it comes to USA. Now the thing is, arms supplies to foreign countries is critical to USA for at least three reasons. The first one is that it is a key leverage of global influence. You know it very well that when you are buying weapons from USA, you clearly position yourself below USA. First thing. The second thing is that they will provide you weapons. It's not that you just give money and you can buy weapons. They give you weapons during that point of time that will create a sort of soft feeling for USA. So in this way, its global influence will expand. The second one is that it reduces the cost of procurement for USA military by spreading the cost. It buys things in the bulk. The way they sell all these things, right, they will get orders and everything. So procurement basically means purchasing raw material and things like that. And the third one is that by employing 1.7 million people, 1.7 million for a country like USA, it's a big amount, right? Or we are talking about nearly 17 lakh people. So this is a big vote bank, and this is important for USA as well. It is very important for the USA to make sure that enough jobs are generated every year when it comes to defense industry. So these are the three. So domestically as well as when you talk about globally, it is a sort of you can say a sector that bears fruit for USA. But the sale of weaponry traditionally is guided less by commercial consideration rather than strategic ones. The thing is, USA used to do all this vetting process. You know, vetting basically means that you do a background check, whether, say for example, if you are giving helicopters to Pakistan, so they will go through all this background check, whether Pakistan is eligible for these helicopters or not. Do they have all this facilities that will maintain this? If not, then how we can provide them to, how we can provide this facilities to Pakistan. And if there is any sort of missile or bombs or anything, then they will also ensure that this will not reach in the hands of a third party. So this were some of the strategic concerns or strategic points that were taken into consideration. But now, businessman turned politician, Mr. Trump, he is more inclined towards commercial deals rather than thinking about this strategic position. And this is not appreciated by the Congress. You can say, when I say Congress, I mean to say their own parliament and this Department of Defense. But the final say when it comes to this defense deal is in the hands of Mr. Trump, and he is not paying any sort of heed to strategy. Now it is good for a country like India, right? Of course, our record when it comes to NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, the whole world knows that we are not a sort of aggressive country, right? We are more a sort of defensive country, and on the global level as well, our image is quite clean. So it is good for our country that we pay the money, and when you have this commercial deals, the upper hand is given to the commerce rather than a strategic angle. Then what happens is the products that we aspire for or the things that we want comes here a bit easier, because this strategic angle thing takes ages and ages to decide. Recently we were talking about this Guardian drones, remember, but still we have not been able to finalize that deal because this vetting process is going on. So it is good for our country like India, when we can throw the money and get the things that we want. The other thing is that Mr. Trump, he wants to reduce this foreign military financing to the least. He does not want to give this aid or grants, right? This point number 3, you see. Where we got here, this one is that, right? This foreign military financing where you provide grants. So he wants to reduce this thing. He wants American partners to buy more weapons. So all its allies, he is pushing, like Japan and South Korea, with which USA is having a trade deficit. So it is pushing them to buy more and more weapons from America. He is hammering NATO partners as well, that you should increase your defense spending. And when they increase their defense spending, of course, they are going to buy, most of the countries, they are going to buy weapons from USA. So in this way, more jobs and more profit. So these are the things going on within USA when it comes to defense deal. So I hope this is clear, and the benefits of India has been explained here as well. This one is about capacity building for primary health care. Now I'm so glad that in our earlier discussion, when we were talking about this National Medical Commission NMC Bill 2017, I think we have talked about it at least 2 times, right, in terms of editorial and article. And I told you that there is a big gap when we talk about this primary health system. Today this article is talking about that thing, that we have a this primary health system of our country is struggling. If you don't know what primary is, if you are new to this analysis, then let me explain this thing to you very briefly. You have this village level, which is known as primary level. Then you have this town level facilities, and then you have, say for example, district level, or you can also say urban level facilities. The situation in our country is that all big hospitals you find in urban area, which is not bad. Okay, we can agree with this thing that of course you have a huge amount of population living, and it would be easier for everyone to reach in this place. We can agree. But the thing is that we are lacking basic facilities when it comes to medical facilities, when it comes to village level or town level. So, and this is a big problem in our country, because what happens is that say for example, if you are feeling a pain in your tummy, and if you are not getting proper diagnosis, or if you are not getting proper medicine and look after, then the chances are, right, not always, this is just a hypothetical example, that if this thing gets undetected, then there are high chances, and most of the time this is what happens, right? People, when they visit big hospitals, they find that they have reached stage number 3 of cancer, and then they have no chance at all of survival. So this is happening because there is a gap here. So if early detection or pre-detection on this sort of things do take place, then we can sort this thing out. Now this National Medical Commission NMC Bill 2017, and it has 2 sections here, 49 subsection 4, and then you have section 49 and subsection 1. It is talking about this bridge connecting both, remember, homeopathy and allopathy. The thing is, we have talked about and we have taken a stand as well. Last time when we talked about this NMC, it was basically that it's not about Indian system of medicine, it's not about modern or allopathy, it's more about what is scientific. The things, if some things falling in this Ayurveda domain, if they are able to cure any disease, or if they can create a sort of you can say, preventive shield around diseases, then of course we should apply those formulas or things that are given in Ayurveda. If you have a disease that is not curable by Ayurveda or Indian system or homeopathy or whatever name it has, then if allopathy is the thing that is working, then we should apply allopathy. So let's, rather than getting or keeping this allopathy and homeopathy against each other, right, it is better to pick up the best of both, or best of whatever other systems we have. Now we have this, one of the reason why we are struggling with this primary health system is because of below par national physician patient ratio. 0.76 per 1000 population is amongst the lowest in the world. So how we can sort this thing out? Earlier on we talked about that in some African countries, what they have done is they have trained these nurses, right? They have trained these nurses, and these nurses can do a little bit of surgery, and they can do a little bit of they can do early diagnosis and things like that. So this is a thing that can be done in our country as well. We have reports on the back in 2010, this 4th Common Review Mission report of National Health Mission, and then you have this 2013's report of Sailaja Chandra, right? These reports are talking about this bridge that we can create, and the way we can fill up this gap that we find in our primary health, or at a very primary level. So basically the solution for this problem is that we have to design and scope the program, right? Rather than fighting or creating this versus situation, we have to design and scope. We have to create a program, then we have to implement it. We have to make sure that there is proper monitoring taking place, and we have to use as much as technology as possible, technological support as possible. And if we do this thing, then we can train this Ayurvedic people, right? Ayurvedic doctors and other people. If we have any sort of gaps, then they can be used for filling these gaps. Then you can have these nurses and other people as well. So in this way we can change the face of our medical sector. With this, dear friends, this one is a very interesting article by Jairam Ramesh. Now you know it very well that Jairam Ramesh is a very famous leader. He belongs to Congress party and he has been union minister as well. But one thing that I must say, of course, when he is writing an article, and if it is about jobs and something, then he is going to criticize the government of India, isn't it? He's going to criticize BJP government. This is something that is quite understandable. But the thing is, his arguments are not illogical. They are based on logic. And personally speaking, see, I am not allied to any particular political party, but my experience in reading this sort of articles of nearly, say, for example, 6-7 years, I can say that articles written by Jairam Ramesh are generally speaking very good. Anyways, so what this article is talking about, it is criticizing this statement given by the government that the government has created 55 lakh new jobs in India, or it is creating 55 lakh new jobs every year. This is of course not a correct statement, and we have evidence when we say it is not correct statement, because there is a report that is out there. And this report is named Towards a Payroll Reporting in India. Payroll basically means when you join a place of work, then you are taken on payroll. So your payment, your salary and everything would be official, you know. It won't be a cash on hand thing. Even if you are given cash, then you'd be getting a pay slip. So this will ensure that everything is formal or a bit organized, you can say. And this report is created by this group Chief Economic Advisor of the State Bank of India and professor from the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. Now the main objective of this report was to make a case for a better payroll reporting system in India, which is perfectly justified and needed. You know it very well that most of the places in our country, or jobs, most of the jobs, right, we are talking about somewhere around 90% jobs, right? Yes, 90% jobs. You don't have this proper pay slip things, right? So this is something that we have to improve, right? We need to bring as many as people, or we have to change the system so that payroll reporting system is something that is commonly seen. This is something that we should strive for, no doubt. But when you say that the same report is claiming that 55 lakh jobs are created, then we have to ask, and the government, you know it very well. See, at the end of the day, all the politicians would like to give you good figures, right? And so does our Prime Minister. He also talked about this thing that 55 lakh new jobs are created and things like that. So we have to ask ourselves that how they arrived at this figure of 55 lakh new jobs every year. The thing is that they used for this researchers, or this Towards a Payroll Reporting in India, the data is coming from this EPFO. Now the problem with this EPFO data is that, say for example, if you were working in an informal job earlier on, you were not given any sort of payroll, your money, your salary was coming in cash, but now your company has registered under this EPFO, you have registered yourself, and now you would be getting a sort of salary, you will be getting a salary slip. So now you are registered here, so the EPFO will think or will take you as a person who has got a new job, right? Rather than just this formal, you can say, switching over from informal to formal, they take it as a new job. So this again indicates that clearly we can say that this is not proper data. The other thing is that after demonetization and GST implementation, we have seen many of the entities, they have become, their operations are formalized now. So all this formalization of operations of different businesses, entities, right, they are considered as new businesses and new jobs been created. So clearly this is not the way you create figures, right? Here you can see EPFO members grew at 7% in 2015. In 2016 they grew at 8%, but all of the sudden, right, there is a bit of jump in financial year 2017, a 20% jump by December 2017 because of demonetization, and then you have this demonetization and of course this GST. So 20% is something that is not digestible, isn't it? So these are the basic flows with this towards a payroll reporting in India. This one is about news item. Padmavati bus have been burned down, and violent protest is going on in different parts of Gujarat, and you find this Juhar Swabhiman rally in Chittorgarh in Rajasthan. These are the two states who have decided that they are, at present, they are not going to release this Padmavati film. Union Home Minister has clearly stated that, or you can say warned Pakistan, that India could kill its enemies not only within its borders but also across them. And from last couple of days we are seeing a sort of turbulence here between the borders of India, and repeated ceasefire violation has taken place. Owner of illegal Delhi firework factory is held. But what about the officials, right, who were knowing about this thing, but they were been paid whatever cash or corruption or whatever bribes, right? So they should be held as well. Judiciary will sort out rift, said Prime Minister Modi. About budget, he said that basically this we saw this 75-minute interview 2 times now of Prime Minister, and he's talked about GST. He said that he's ready to sort out all these loopholes that we have and make this GST system more efficient. Regarding Supreme Court, he said that they will sort it out. Judiciary will sort out its own problem. There is no point of interfering in it. Regarding this budget, he said that it is the domain of finance minister, so he does not want to interfere with this budget making. This one is about a sort of controversy that has been created by the statement of Satyapal. Remember, he was an IPS officer, commissioner of Mumbai, and then he left this job and joined BJP. At present, he is junior minister, or you can say minister of state for human resource development. And what he has said that Darwin's theory of evolution is a myth and should be taken off from school textbooks. This has created, you can say, this scientific community has basically rejected his claim, and they say that they clearly disagree with the statement of minister. In fact, the 3 academies of Indian National Science Academy, Indian National Academy of Sciences, and Indian Academy of Science issued a statement denouncing his claim. So let's see who is right. Basically, see, Dr. or this Satyapal Singh, right, he is also coming from science background. So rather than this sort of arguments, they should place evidence. This is about a very horrific incident that took place in Kabul. A hotel was, international hotel was bomb blasted, and 18 people have died so far, including in this one you have 14 foreigners. This sort of incidents, of course, this one has taken in Kabul, but it is a clear, you can say, terror attack on the world, because one of the main aim was to kill as many foreigners as possible. So a very sad incident, right, and the casualty toll is expected to go up. Turkish troops enter Syria to fight Kurdish militia. If you go back to their history, then you find that the country of Turkey, right, or Turkey, they have named, or they see these Kurdish people as terrorists, and you can see here they have considerable population of this Kurdish people living in Turkey and in Syria as well. They are in as power too. A small sort of a local administration is run by these Kurdish people. So this is what we have got from this part. These are your answers. In fact, as you can see here, right, 0 degrees, so it is in the south and it is in the eastern portion when we talk about this Lesotho. And this is the country here, Lesotho. It is surrounded by South Africa, all completely, right, landlocked, and you can have see this Drakensberg Mountains. Regarding this answer, Black Sea, Sea of Azov, you have this Kerch, Strait of Kerch is here, this one, and this one is Bosphorus Strait, very important one, this one, Bosphorus Strait. You have Istanbul here, and these are your questions. Name the last Mauryan emperor, and Kautilya was the prime minister of Chandragupta, Vikramaditya, Ashoka, Chandragupta Maurya, or Raja Janak. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion, right? Make sure you provide your answers in the comment section, as well as you can, if you want, you can write to me on this Facebook page, which is Prashant Imamani. I will be waiting for your views on our positive statement, and I will see you all soon. Don't forget to check out StudyIQ.com for pen, drive and tablet courses. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.